Thanks so much for tuning in to the Happiness Happens podcast. If you're loving what you're hearing, be sure to subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, I would be so grateful if you could rate and review the show. It takes 2 seconds and it tells me what you're loving and what you're wanting more of. I'm your host, Simona Costantini, and I'm obsessed with understanding what it means to be happy. In 2018, I went through a massive journey and awakening, and I found myself having to relearn who I was and what I really wanted to do with my time on this planet. The truth is, I spent a lot of time looking happy on the outside, but not really feeling the same way on the inside. So I knew there must be other people who felt the exact same way as me, and I've learned along the way that there really are. And now I get to interview them and other thought leaders in the space on my podcast every single week. I'm a recovering people pleaser turned life coach and podcast producer. On this show, we get into what it means to be happy, the purpose and intention behind happiness, how to live a happier life, and we hear about all the hard moments that have shaped people to become resilient and living out their passion every single day. Think of this as your one-stop shop to help you live a more purposeful, inspired life. This is the Happiness Happens podcast. Are you ready to dive into this inspiring conversation? Let's go. Welcome back to the Happiness Happens podcast. Thank you so much for joining me for another beautiful episode on the podcast. This one is with someone who is so near and dear to my heart. She came into my life like a jolt and bolt of energy and has just brought me so much joy and love and, warm, supportive friendship, and she is just so wonderful. Her name is Julie Paulston, and she's a transformational life coach who brings humor, passion, and compassion in her journey to help women rise from the ashes of their lives to rediscover their divine inner phoenix. Having over 30 years in recovery, she brings multiple personal experiences and strategies to rediscover who you were before the world told you who you should be. The last year has been pivotal in her journey to rediscovering her own purpose and her passion to serve others. She's a contributing author for Women's Wealth and Wellness Network and has appeared on Ladies of Light with Melanie, Kolton, and Ask the Expert with Leticia Johnson. She has her own podcast called Be the Phoenix of Your Own Life, where no subject is off the table. She's a proud mom of 3 grown children and 3 grandchildren, and she lives in Pensacola, Florida, and loves nothing more than chasing the sunrise over the Gulf and sharing her experience, strength, and hope with other people. I hope that you love this episode as much as I did. Chatting with Julie just brought me so much joy and just fueled my soul up so much. She's such a bright light. She has so much wonderful energy and wisdom to share. And so I hope you find the nuggets of inspiration in this episode that will, I know, surely help you with whatever season you're in right now. And if you love what you hear, please let us know on Instagram. We're both there, but also on Facebook as well. Let us know what you're loving about this episode, and I cannot wait to hear your thoughts. Be sure to leave us a review if you love the podcast, and I think that I should just stop talking, and I think we should just dive on into the episode. Hello, Julie. Welcome to the Happiness Happens podcast. I'm super excited to have you here today.
I'm slightly excited too, so there's that.
You are magic, and you have such a story to share and so much wisdom and insight. And so before we dive into all the good stuff, I would love if you could tell our listeners just a little bit about your journey and how you've gotten to where you are today.
Ooh, good question. So let me just go ahead and snuggle down and get comfortable. My name is Julie Paulston, and I am the founder and owner of Divine Phoenix Rising. I started this journey completely by a happy accident. And in the moment was not a happy accident. It was really painful, and it was really not what I wanted. And it was everything that I didn't think would ever happen to me. The long story short, the Reader's Digest condensed version is July 11th, I broke my wrist in 3 places. Actually, let me go back further. I was an educator for a Fortune 500 company, and I got moved from the West Coast to Chicago, got to pilot a program, and then got moved down to Pensacola. And then loved my job, but knew there was something else out there, but I just didn't want to listen to the nudges. So I just kept going the way I thought that I should go. COVID hit. And I used to travel around my district. So I was like in different stores all over. I do overnight travels. I'm out and about. I get to see people. And for those that can't see me or that don't know me, I'm very animated and I love being around people. And I got put in my house and I became everything that I detested, which was a paper pusher, where I was doing reports and Excel spreadsheets and conference calls about a conference call to schedule a conference call. And then we'd have a conference call about the conference call. And I just really hit depression. I got real negative and it just kept getting worse and worse. Well, I was talked to about my communication and my depression became aggression. And so I just kind of collapsed on myself. July 11th, I broke my wrist in 3 places, which was also my dominant hand. So then it made it even harder for me. I couldn't do hair anymore because I was in the salon 1 day a week. I couldn't do hair. And I was struggling with just being in my house by myself. And then August 27th, the company decided that they were going to part ways with me, which is a polite way of saying I got fired, which tomorrow would have been 9 years with the company. Yeah. So it would have been 9 years and I was devastated. And so I dove into holy shit, I have to find a job because my corporate job was a very lucrative job. And I'm not known, as my mom says, I'm not known for saving. So I was panicked. And so I kept trying to force a job. And I started reaching out to all my contacts in the industry, and they're like, yeah, Julie, we just don't have anything now, but wait until like November or something. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
And then September 15th, Hurricane Sally came to Pensacola. About 12:30 in the morning. Something woke me up and I jumped out of bed and my feet hit water. My house was flooding. I've never been in a hurricane. I didn't know what a hurricane was. Everybody told me, oh, it's just a category 1. We just have hurricane parties with this. It's no big deal. So when it was all said and done, I grabbed my dog, got out of the house. But when I came back, I lost everything. The only thing that I had to my name was the furniture that my grandfather made, my desk and my magazine rack, and the hook latch rug that my mom made because I put them on the kitchen table, and a few boxes that I'd had in my office. Other than that, I had 3.5 feet of water in my house. So my mom's birthday was that following weekend, and I'd already planned to go to Arizona. And so I had to borrow a pair of flip flops because I didn't have any shoes.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was the horrible, rotten, no good, very bad day that catapulted me into this. It catapulted me into realizing that all of the calls that I'd been getting from the universe and putting into my spiritual voicemail, the calls kept getting louder and louder, and I was forced to answer them. I was forced to check my voicemail. And when I checked my voicemail, the universe, Gus, God, universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, said, hey, I have something for you. Here you go. And so my company was born out of rising out of the ashes of my own life. And so now I empower women to rise out of the ashes of their lives to reclaim their divine inner phoenix the way that I have reclaimed mine.
Powerful stuff. And just so everyone has some context that's listening right now, this was 2020, right?
This was 7 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to highlight that because I think a lot of the times when we see other people who are in the space where they're meant to be, we think that, you know, it can't happen for us, or that it will never happen for us, you know, or that it takes years and years for someone to figure out what they're supposed to be doing here. Whereas, you know, in a very short amount of time, you had your life flipped completely upside down. And we're sort of, like you said, catapulted into your new destiny, your new reality. So kind of like, yeah, all the things you didn't want, but everything you never knew you needed all at the same time. And so I think this is a good reminder for everyone who's listening right now that it's not always about the things or wanting more or more. A lot of the time it's about, you know, really diving deep into your own transformation so that you can see how everything comes together. But I just think that's so incredible in the way that you navigated that? Because I'm sure that it definitely was not easy, and you had a choice to make, right? You can choose to be, you know, why me? Or you can choose, I'm sure you had times of why me, you know, but then you also have the choice to feel those feelings and launch yourself into what you want to be doing. Super powerful, Julie, honestly.
You can either be bitter or you can be better.
Mm.
You've got a choice. You always have a choice. You always have a choice. And when you look at the things that happen in your life, you can look at it as, oh my God, this happened to me, or this happened for me. Sometimes the loss is overwhelming and the grief is overwhelming. And you can't see the for me in the moment. I couldn't see the for me in the moment. I mean, I lost everything.
Yeah.
I lost everything, and I was I was virtually homeless. If it wasn't for my friend Dawn, I literally would have been homeless. Which isn't something that hasn't happened to me before. I mean, I've got almost 31 years of recovery. And I've been homeless. I've lived on the streets. I mean, I've been there before. You know, my mom now is one of my best friends. She would have never let anything like that happen to me. So, but in that moment, the grief and the holy shitness of it can be overwhelming, because it wasn't that, you know, I had a job to go to and things to take care of. The caveat was, when I moved down here, they told me I needed hurricane insurance. So I said, cool, awesome, let's get some hurricane insurance. And I asked him, I said, is that everything I need? The guy goes, yeah, that's everything you need. Well, they didn't tell me that I needed flood insurance. And I didn't know, because I've never lived here. So I didn't get flood insurance. So guess what? I had no insurance. So everything that I lost, I literally lost. Like, I watched these people carry my stuff out to the curb, and I'm sitting in my office and I'm looking outside, and they brought my stuff out to the curb, and I had really nice stuff. I worked very hard and I had nice stuff. And I watched them put it out on the curb, and then I watched people come and take it. Like people driving around in trucks, pulling up and taking my stuff. Like taking my couches, taking my mattresses, and when I moved down here from Chicago, I thought everything was new.
Yeah.
I didn't bring anything. Everything was new. So I watched people take my stuff. So not only do you have the grief of losing it, then you see people taking it. And in that moment, I was real bitter.
100%.
Real bitter, real angry. And then, you know, you start working through the feelings, and you start working through it. And the universe, and I call it Gus, God, universe, spirit, the synchronicities is there to surprise and delight you if you take a moment and breathe. You know, losing something isn't bad. Like you and I were talking about, you know, if you losing something, sometimes you need to just chuck it and lose it and not worry about getting it back, because it's not for you. I tell people, I did a live earlier today on my Facebook page, and I may have been spitting a little bit of fire. I may have used one or two expletives, because, you know, those are my favorite words. They're sentence enhancers. So for those of you that are listening and don't like sentence enhancers, you may hear one or two. So
tune out. No, I'm just kidding.
Tune out. Scroll on. Be like TikTok. Scroll on. The good old tiki-taki. But it's funny, because I talked about, as women, I would challenge the women and the men that are listening, because guys, you do it too. I know you do it too, because I have an ex-husband or two. So I know you do it too, is that go look in your closet, right? As soon as you quit listening to this podcast, or put your headphones in and take it into your closet, and I want you to go look in your closet and look at the amount of clothes sitting in there that are too big for you. Because in that moment, you're thinking, oh, well, these remind me of where I don't want to be again. Or in the moment, you're like, oh, you know, I'm just going to hang on to them, because, well, what if? Well, what happens mentally is you think that they're there to cheer you on so that you don't ever go back. But mentally, you're focused on not getting fat again. And the universe only hears fat. So it just gives you all those reasons to be fat again. So chuck them. On the flip side of it, if you have a bunch of jeans that are too small for you, ladies, we do this all the time. We have our goal pair of jeans. I'm going to get back in this pair of jeans. I'm going to do it. It's going to be amazing. We never get back there. And what happens is we look at that size 8 or whatever size it is, 12, it doesn't matter the size, but we look at that and we use it to beat ourselves up with in the moment. I'm so fat. I'm never going to get back there. Julie, you've tried every diet known to man. We beat ourselves up with it. So let it go. Mm. There was something magical about losing everything I owned. I was forced to let it go. And now I get to choose what comes back in my life.
That's so magical, because there's so much that we hold on to for no other reason other than as a reminder of perhaps something that we maybe feel like we have lost, or a time that we want back. And so I almost feel like, when you're forced to let these things go, and when you're choosing, like a pair of jeans, when you're choosing to let it go, you're choosing to become at peace. You're choosing to let it go gracefully or not. You know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be, right? But it's a choice though at the same time, oh my God, it's so crazy. And so, in terms of when you were in all of this moment of your life, and this is such I want to say incredible, but not in like the positive way, you know what I mean? Like it's such like a massive experience to go through. What is it that kept you going through that? How did you pick yourself back up and continue on?
So one of my favorite people, his name is Andy Dooley. He says that there's 2 trains in life. You're either on the bitch train or the bliss train. You're the conductor. And here's the thing, you're the conductor of the train. You can't blame anybody else. If you're on the bitch train, you can't blame anybody else but the person staring back at you in the mirror. So I was on the bitch train for quite a few days. And I just kept thinking that I'm alive. I have my dog. Lumpy Lou is, well, I don't know where she's at right now. If you hear clickety clackety, it's because she's coming in the room. But I have my dog. I have my life. My kids are okay. My grandkids are okay. And in this moment, people are, in any moment, in any time of what you're doing, Simona, people are watching you. And I can either be an inspiration and lead from a place of love, and people will watch me and find something that will help them, or I can sink back into the pit of, I call it the swirling vortex of doom. I could have gone back to that, but every day when I woke up, I chose to look at what I did have, not what I didn't have. And I chose to think about, this is an opportunity to recreate my life. This is an opportunity to truly, and sometimes I think that it sounds corny, but it's true. This is the time that I got to be the phoenix. I was in ashes. I was literally in ashes, and I have the choice to do better. I have the choice to get on the bliss train. I have the choice to show my children what resilience is. I have a choice to show my friends what resilience is, and to show them that no matter what, 1,000% of your bad days, you've made it through because you're sitting here listening to this. I'm sitting here talking to you. So out of every single bad thing and bad day that has happened, made it through. Haven't always done it gracefully, and I haven't always done it kindly, and I haven't always done it with ease. Sometimes I was just a fucking train wreck, but I made it through. And so that's how I did it, is I kept thinking about the people that I love the most, and I put myself first. What do I want? In the morning, I would get up and I would think, what kind of an example do I want to be? And then at night, I will sit there before I go to sleep and I would say, was I that example? And if I wasn't, what can I do different? No beating yourself up. What can I do differently tomorrow to be a better example for myself first, and then for those that are around me? That's so beautiful. I'm like, okay, yep. I was so lost in your words. I was like, yep, It's
true. It's really, really true. I mean, you do have that, you have that ability to be the strength, but also not from, and with hearing you speak, this is what it sounds like to me, not even from a place of, ego, but from a place of passion and purpose. You know what I mean? To be able to guide other people through their own adversity while going through so much of your own at the same time. It's not to prove yourself to anybody. It's to help other people who may be in a situation that is similar to yours on any level, right? It doesn't have to be a
Exactly.
flood and losing everything, right? Like people feel this way without having to go through that. So that's so powerful. And then if you think about, forgiveness on top of that, how did you start to forgive some of the different, if you don't mind my asking?
No, well, like I told, when you and I talked before this whole thing, when synchronicity put you in my life, which I am always going to be so forever grateful for because I just absolutely adore you.
The feeling is
When
mutual.
when that happened, when I think about forgiveness and when I think about, there was some really shady shit that happened at my last job. There was some people that were not leading with integrity. There was some stuff that happened. Was I a participant? Absolutely. I will own my shit all day long. I will own it. There were some things that were happening that I chose not to look at.
Mm.
And so one thing led to another. Julie, you don't have a job. And then all of, taking my stuff and then the backhand of it, the company that I worked for, the people talking, I heard, the rumors of what was being said. And so, I, once again, two trains of thought. I remember my mom telling me a long time ago, forgiveness is not about them.
Hmm.
It's not for them. You're not doing shit for them. It's for you. Why are you drinking poison expecting them to die? It doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I told a friend of mine that I actually am so grateful for them. I'm actually grateful. In the moment, was I? No.
No.
Did it take a while? Yes. Looking back now, I'm so grateful for getting fired. I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful I lost all my stuff in the hurricane. I am so grateful that I broke my wrist. I am so grateful that all of these things happened for me. And these people did things that allowed me to rediscover. People are always talking about, oh, I need to go find myself. Girl, you ain't lost. You need to find yourself. Go look in the mirror. She's waiting for you. You're not lost. It's rediscovering the innate ability to rise from that which you thought was meant to destroy you. You are not lost. You are not some crumpled up $10 bill in one of your jean pockets. You are not your car keys. You are not the things that we lose. You are a beautiful creation that got lost on the way. You got off your path. But if we would slow down and listen to Gus and to the universe and to whatever thing you call it, if you would just listen, it's sitting there saying, hey, come here, Simona, I got something for you. It's really super cool. Come here. But I'm not going to give you the full meal deal. I'm going to give you the breadcrumbs to follow. Because we all want that $1 million business, but if it dropped in your lap right now, could you handle it? Hell no.
No.
You'd
No.
freak out and lose everything. So, baby steps, stir up the magic. The people come into your life at exactly the time that they're supposed to. It's your choice to look at it as an opportunity or not.
Hmm. That's big and really important to remember, because the part that you said too about, like, we all want all these different things. We have dreams, we have aspirations, we have goals. We want the $1 million business, but you're right. If it did land on your lap, you wouldn't know what to do with it. And I was editing a podcast recently, where the guest was speaking and she had lost her husband, and her husband had started a business, and it was a 8-figure business by the time he passed away. And she said when he passed, she lost everything. You know what I mean? Because he was so the face of the business, plus all of the medical bills are in the States. So it's more expensive. She had to restart everything from the ground up again and then relearn how to build it all back up. That's the journey, I suppose, that was meant for her, you know? And I think that's really powerful because you don't always get to see the full picture, even though we want to see it. Like you said, I am the type of person, I want to see everything. I want you to tell me how it plays out.
That's me.
Tell me all the things.
I need to know everything.
To the point where sometimes I'm like, I just like to know like what age I'll be like when I die. You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, is that really going to make a difference? Because if someone's like tomorrow, you know, I'd be like, oh shit.
You'd be like, oh, what's her name? Queen Latifah in that movie where she went to the doctor and she thought she was going to die. And so she like cleaned out her savings account and met the man of her dreams and all that stuff. But you have such a good point. What if someone says you were going to die tomorrow? What would you do differently today? So why are you waiting for someone to tell you you're going to kick the bucket? Why not live the life of your dreams in any capacity that you can right now when you have breath in your lungs and legs to get you and eyes to see and ears to hear and whatever it is? Why aren't you living it to whatever capacity that you can now?
Exactly.
Like I might want to travel all over the world. Do I have the money to travel all over the world right now? Probably not. But I can go to the beach. I can go someplace else and have fun. I can start looking at what that would be like and start visualizing it and start living into whatever capacity I can do it now.
Exactly. Plus, this is the caveat too that I keep saying to everybody. There's a reason why we're in this pandemic. People lose jobs, people lose money, people do all of this different stuff. People lose family members, which is awful. But if you think about it through a money and job lens, for example, this was the time that was meant to shake up the lives of the people who needed it to be shaken up. I'm one of those people. I was at a job for years, miserable. Yep. People were horrible to me, horrible. And I sat there and I took it because I was like, this is the job that I need. I need to do this because I'm going to get here, climb the ladder, whatever. I never wanted any of those things though. And, you know, then I ended up working at an amazing place afterwards, just for a short little stint, and then moved outside of the city and was like, you know what? I have a choice now. I can go full-time in my business and take a bet on myself, take literally like a 90% pay cut and live my dream. Or I can continue to struggle and fight and claw my way into the place that I don't even want to be in. You know what I mean? And
that's exactly my life. That is exactly my life. I mean, that pandemic hit and I traveled and I taught and I got to go to all these cool places and I got to interact with people. But the writing was on the wall for the job. The job was shifting. The job that I piloted, the original position that I piloted was not the position that I had down here. And I saw the writing on the wall. I saw the changes coming and I thought, I just have to hang on. I mean, I can't survive without this job. I mean, how can I survive? What am I going to do if I lose my job? And not trusting, and like you said, taking that bet on yourself. If there's anybody to bet on, it's you. Mm-hmm. We will literally take all of our dreams and our goals and our aspirations and we will put them in a basket and we will hand it to someone and say, here are all my dreams, here are all my goals, and here are all my aspirations. Will you please take care of them for me? Yeah. We will hand the pen. It's like me going, okay, here you go, Simona. Will you please write my story for me? Here's the pen. I don't know what kind of shit you're going to write about me. No, thank you. I think I would like to hold on to my own pen.
100%. That's so good. It's so true. It is so, so, so true. And, you know, just another thought that I had while you were saying that, you know, you want to travel and all of these different things. And it's like, where are we going right now? This is the time to be starting something new because you're not missing out by not going anywhere. And I feel the same way. I had so many different places that I wanted to travel to and so many different places that I wanted to go. And it was like, where?
Where? Hi, my name's COVID. Where do you think you're going? Child, you need to go back to your room. This is Mama COVID. Girl, you need to go back to your house. You were not. No, I know
you can come out in 5 years,
but you're grounded. You are grounded. Go back to your room. It's so funny. I read something today, and I posted on my stories. It said the lust for comfort murders the passion and the dreams of our soul.
Ooh.
We lust after comfort so badly, and we don't realize that it is murdering the passion and the dreams of our soul. Our soul is calling. It is saying, I have amazing things for you.
Mm-hmm.
But society looks at it and goes,
that's not normal.
You know, Julie, it's, you know, you're starting a business. Oh, what kind of experience do you have being a coach? I love that one.
My whole life.
I'm like, well, let me see. Yeah. And however, it was funny because I've been on a couple podcasts now, which I'm having so much fun with. And we were talking about it. I know the difference between being a coach and being a therapist. I am not a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm talking to you and what we're talking about is going to need something that is out of my realm of experience and comfortability, I have no problem sending you to and telling you, I love you. This is not for you.
Mm-hmm.
This is work that I can't help you with. You need to have a trauma coach. You need to have someone with a medical degree. But I think that going through and having your life experiences, it gives you, first of all, if you have not made $1 million, why am I going to ask you how?
Yeah.
I remember going to Jenny Craig. Girl, this is a funny story. I went to Jenny Craig because I used to be almost 300 pounds. So I went to, yeah. So I went to Jenny Craig, and I remember I walked in and I saw my counselor, and I was feeling horrible and guilty and shame and all that anyways. So I go in there and I sit down, and here comes this cute little thing. And she's just so chipper. And she starts talking to me, and I looked at her and I said, you know what? I'm so proud of you. So I need to know, how did you lose all your weight? No lie, girl, she looks at me and goes, oh, I've never been fat.
Oh, what?
Girl, I will smush you like a bug. What? I said, you know what? This is over. I'm done. I'm done. I have to go. And she's like, well, why are you leaving? I said, if you have never walked in my shoes, how can you possibly tell me how my feet feel? You don't know how my feet feel. They hurt right now. And right now you're sitting in your cute little Louboutins. Your feet don't hurt. Mine do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know what my feet feel like, you can't tell me how to make them feel better.
That's so true. So true. People love to dish out advice. People love to dish out everything, their perspectives, why you should or shouldn't feel something, how you should or shouldn't feel. And it's like, you have no idea. And I think that's like the number one thing that I've learned. And I love that you brought that up. I feel like it's the number one thing that I've learned is that while I don't understand exactly what you're going through, I can empathize, but I'll never know exactly what that feels like. Nope. There's no way.
Nope. And when people in my course was it last week or the week before? The week before, we were talking about the gift of the crash and the burn. And I tell people, put your hand in front of your face. You know, if you put your hand in front of your face and you look out, you can only see around that filter. So when people give you advice, it's like they have this thing in front of their face, and they can only give you advice from their filter and their scope of knowledge. So if they don't understand it, they're going to give you advice. The other thing is that you will find the higher that you rise, and when you get to that next level and when you're ready for that next evolution in your life, the people that you know sometimes aren't ready for the new you.
Yeah.
And so they like you where you were because they were comfortable with that. And what happens is you're shining. Now you've taken the spotlight. You're rising into this next version of who you are. Now that spotlight is now going to be cast on the people that you know, and they don't like it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm sure you've heard it. Oh, you've changed. You've really changed. I don't think I like the way you've changed.
Bye.
Well, thank you for your opinion. I will not be taking it under advisement. Thank you for participating. Go see Vanna. She has some nice parting gifts for you in the back.
It's true. It's true. And I think that's kind of a silly thing for someone to say to someone, though, if you really think about it. Like, of course I've changed. You know what I mean? Like, of course, I hope so. Because if you're the only thing that you can count on in life is change, the only thing that is guaranteed for you is change.
Yep.
So I sure hope I'm changing.
Exactly. I love the saying, a flower does not worry about where it's planted. It just blooms.
I love that.
So just start blooming.
Yeah, exactly.
Trees don't worry about other trees. And if they're getting taller or if they're getting more branches or more leaves, they just grow. And as you grow, you will end up standing in front of your wall of demons. We all have them. And when you stand in front of your wall of demons, they're going to laugh at you. They're going to make fun of you. They're going to do all of the things to keep you where you are. The challenge is being able to stand in front of that wall of demons and pluck the ones out, because your next level is waiting for you. The evolved you is waiting for you to just stand there and say, you do not serve me. You do not give me what I need anymore. I am ready to take the next step to the next level, because people need to hear your story. Your story matters. Your voice matters. Everything about you matters. Someone needs to know that they're not alone in what they're going through.
I love that you just said that. That's the sole reason why I started this podcast. And so the fact that you've just said that on the podcast, it is so powerful to hear that. Because it's true. It's a beautiful reminder that even in the times where you don't feel like continuing on, when you don't feel like, going and doing it, that it matters, because it matters to somebody else. You know what I mean? That's so important.
Your light, who you are at your core, your light will lead somebody else out of their darkness, and you may never ever know it.
Very true.
But if you dim your light because it's hurting somebody else's eyes, you may leave someone in their darkness. So shine your light. Shine your bright little weirdo light as much and brightly as possible. The other weirdos who are meant for you will find you. The people that are designed to be in your life will find you. If they don't find you, they're not designed to be in your life. And it's okay to let them go. Chuck them.
Exactly. See ya.
Yeet.
I think you got it in the net there with that one.
I did? Okay. It's the only time I've made a basket.
I love it. And this is the exact reason why you and I are connected, because we're both our own weird. I love it.
Yes.
I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I just love it. Okay, I have one more question for you, and it's a question I ask all my guests when they come on the show. Yes. And it's, how can someone create a little more happiness in their day every day starting today?
Ooh, I'm so glad you asked me that. So today I had somebody challenge me. And at first I was like, oh, hell, this is going to be so hard. I don't want to do this. But I did it anyways. And I know that it sounds trite, but they challenged me to write a list of 100 things I was grateful for. Oh. Not 5, not 10, not 20, but 100 things I was grateful for.
Wow.
If you are sitting and swirling in the vortex of doom, you cannot get to joy in one fell swoop. You have to go up the emotional scale. So if you're sitting in despair, and I've been there, I've been suicidal, I've attempted suicide. I mean, when you're sitting in that spot, sometimes the best thing you can do is get angry. Because anger feels better than despair. Frustration feels better than anger. Blah feels better than frustration. So you work your way up the emotional scale and you think, what would make me happy in this moment? That's what I ask myself. Julie, what would make you happy in this moment? A cookie. Okay, go eat a cookie. What would make you happy in this moment? And listen for the little voice inside. Your brain will mess with you because it's only gray matter. Listen for your soul to tell you, because your soul will tell you to go splash in a mud puddle. It will tell you to go put your feet in the grass. It will tell you to go outside and listen to the birds sing. It will tell you to go to the beach. It will tell you the little thing, but ask yourself, what would make me happy in this moment? And whatever that answer is, follow it.
I love that. I love that so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And where can our listeners find you so they can connect with you and learn more about you?
Yay! So you can find me, friend me, follow me on all of my social media. I will tell you that I'm not that good at Instagram, but I'm getting better. My name is Julie. My last name is Paulston. It is spelled P as in Peter, A-U-L-S as in Sam, T as in Tom, O-N. My page is public on Facebook. My business is there. My courses are run out of there. And I have 2 Instagrams. One is at Grateful for Life, and it's GR, the number 8, FUL, the number 4, Life, Life. So it's Grateful for Life.
Love that.
And then my other one is at Divine Phoenix Rising.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you, Julie, so much for coming on the podcast today and for sharing your story and wisdom with all of us today.
No, thank you. I'm so grateful for you.
I'm grateful for you.
Grateful.
Add that to your list.
Okay, you got it.
There's one of 100.
There's one of my 100. Yay! I actually got to 120.
Well, I'm not surprised. Once you start, it's ever evolving. Like you open the gate and then you're like, and this, and this, and this, and this. Mm-hmm.
50, you get to 50, and I would challenge your listeners to do this. When you get to 50, you kind of go, oh. But what I did was I was like, oh, what am I going to do? So I took this deep breath and I was like, oh shit, breathing. I got to put breathing down. So, and then it started going again. So yeah, do 100. Go as far as you can past 100.
I love that. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Julie. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into the podcast. Can't wait to hear how much you love this episode. Please share with us and be sure to connect with both of us. Let us know what you loved, what you took away from the episode. And if you love what you're listening to, feel free to share this episode with someone you know needs to hear this message. Remember that happiness happens when you're least expecting it. Well, it looks like we've made it to the end of this episode. I'm so grateful for you tuning into this week's episode, and I cannot wait to see you over on the next one. If you loved this conversation and this topic as much as I did, please feel free to leave us a rating or a review wherever you're listening. It takes just a second, and it is so important for us so that we can make sure to deliver this content to those who need it. I'm wishing you the most beautiful day wherever you are in the world, and remember that happiness happens when you're least expecting it.